We've got a face-up and a down-the-line view of this golfer at the same time. We'll start here on the right side, which is the down-the-line view. We'll draw in the swing plane, which is the golf club shaft, and we'll draw in his spine tilt forward. He's got a pretty good setup. The other thing we'll go ahead and draw in on the red line is the position of his arms, right down here. So you can see he's probably a little bit inside too far with his arms. I'd like to see his hands out about under his chin. I think what that's going to result in is a little bit of a jamming up position. Let's go over here to the face-on view, and I'll draw in the triangle. That's the main structure of the upper body in the golf swing. We want to see that triangle stay intact. Then in a white line, I'm going to go ahead and draw in the power line. That's the line we want to pivot around, which is going to go right up his lead side here. I've got them synced up pretty well. Let's see how it works in slow motion. We'll play it together, 8th speed. Let's watch what happens. We'll go back, part way back in the takeaway. Triangle staying pretty good. If you look on the left side, you can see the triangle staying in pretty good shape from the face-on view, but from the downline view, you can see the elbow is coming up. The hands should be above the elbow at this point, not the elbow above the hands. We're going to advance it a little bit now to the top of the backswing. You can see what's happening here is that the club now is over the top, at the top of the backswing. The club should be parallel to the blue line, the swing plane line. You can see that it's not, so his triangle has really broken apart. You can see the width there between the elbows. If you look on the down the line view, it's harder to see on the up the line view, but what we should see here is that the trail elbow on the face-on view should be below the lead elbow instead of above the lead elbow. Just imagine if we were able to get this elbow to drop down like this, the club shaft then would be tilted back this way, and the shaft then would be parallel to the blue plane line. The other thing we notice is that the shaft is going to be on a line with the knuckles of his hands. And you can see that the knuckles are pointing straight down. That golf shaft needs to be pointing back on this line here. I'll draw it in blue so we're staying consistent. Should be back parallel, should be about there. That way we can drop the club back into the slot. Now let's continue on a little slower. Now what he's going to try to do, in his brain, he's rerouting the club to the inside. But you can see that he's really not at all. The club head now is well over the top of the swing plane, even the upper swing plane. The club is parallel to the lead arm, not parallel to the trail arm. He's done a good lower body move here to a point. Then he comes into the impact zone. You see where his hands are now. They're stuck way inside, even further inside than Jimmy Furyk would be. And he's moved his spine and everything forward. If you look at where I drew the spine tilt, it was on his hip. See how far forward his hip come. It's hard to see that from the face on, but what we do see from the face on is that the club head is not being rotated, that the left hand is staying under, the right hand, I mean, is staying under, the trail hand is staying under the club. We'll advance it there. You can see it's really under the club, really jammed in tight. It's got no rotation. And you can see on the down the line view that the club is passing. We'll clear everything out of the way. See where the club is, way back inside. The hands haven't extended at all, continuing on down the line. See how close the hands are to the body? The hands should at least be as far away from the body as they were at a similar spot in the backswing. We'll back it up a little bit. So it should be at least that far away. And it's not at all. Now what's odd is that he's able to do that in his practice swing. And I'm going to go ahead and post another video of him just executing some practice swings. And you'll see how nicely done they are. And then when he actually goes up to swing at the ball, it collapses. So what we're going to ask him to do is really work hard on letting the club rotate and to get a little more gap between his hands and his body at the setup position. We'll bring it back to the setup position so you can see what I'm talking about here. Rule of thumb, we should be able to at least get the hands between our body and the club shaft. He's really up close. I'd like to see him gain a little bit of width here. We'd like to see at least 144 degrees. So we're going to go down here. We're going to go down here. So he needs to get his hands a little higher in order to get 144 to 142 degrees because he's 147. So we're going to get his hands a little higher at setup, and I think he'll do better.